Hello, happy Friday. It is Joshua Lennox, your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer, and we are live here on the Inspiration Station on July the 3rd, 2026. I am so happy to be here and so glad that you all are here with me. Welcome to July, y'all. It came quick. I know we're at the literal past the half mark of the year. I cannot believe it, but we are here. We're thriving, we're living, we're breathing, we're thankful. We are amazing. We're doing great things. We're doing major things. We're changing. We're healing. We're transforming. And I could just continue to go down the list, but you fill in the blank there. But as you guys are coming in, I just want to say thank you for continuing to show up. Thank you for continuing to stand with me, even through this transition of things. And things are changing. And I'll just say stay tuned to some new things that are going to be upcoming for us here on the Inspiration Station. So, and as I always say, I will keep you guys updated as things change. I will not leave you hanging. And I will continue to show up. But if things change, I will definitely let you know in advance. Also, I hope that you guys are enjoying your Friday. I know some of you all were off today. I was not. Some might have been off today as we're preparing, of course, for the 4th of July. And all of that Independence Day and firecrackers and fireworks and hot dogs and hamburgers and ribs. If anybody would like to bring me a plate, that would be great. Baked beans, potato salad, as long as you know how to cook, because I don't think I'll be doing that. So not this year. But I hope that you all have been having a productive week, a productive start to your month, and also knowing that, again, anything that you are dealing with challenges, they're just reminders that you are going to always overcome what seems to try to come over you. You're going to overcome what seems to try to come over you. If this is your first time, I'm glad you're here, whether you're on LinkedIn, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook, and y'all continue to share this. Let me say that we're going to continue to share, continue to like, continue to subscribe, spread it to everybody. People send you stuff and spam you with stuff all the time. Do it back. Send in some inspiration to people, some encouragement, some motivation. But again, if this is your first time, I'm glad that you're here. We're here just to literally be reminded that we're not only inspirations to people outside of us and that we come into contact with, but we're inspirations to ourselves. You have so many things in your life that you can look back and use as a push or a launch to go further in your future because of the things that you've overcome before, the things that you've been successful at, the valleys that you've been through that have made you stronger. And as I always say, we've never had any L's. The only L's, I'm sorry, we have are lessons. Not we don't lose anything. We're just getting lessons. Also, there will be people to come on that will be giving us some nuggets and giving us some wisdom and giving us some tools for our tool belt that you may know that be very popular, very famous, or might not be as famous because you've never met them before. You don't know who they are. But as I always say, everybody is a superstar to Joshua Lennox, just like you are to me. Also, this is where we're vulnerable, we're open, and we're honest, not just with each other, but with ourselves. Because the relationship that's often neglected is with who, y'all? With yourself. So we're not doing that. We're not neglecting ourselves and also not putting ourselves on the back burners to make sure that the needs of everybody else is met first before our own. I want to jump right into today, you guys. The title of today is I'm So Glad That Happened. Say that out loud to yourself right now. I'm so glad that happened. Some of y'all probably like, oh, I don't know what am I glad about? Because it depends on what you're talking about, Josh. But what I want to say is, have you ever looked back at something that completely disrupted your life and thought, I'm so glad that happened. Not because it felt good, not because it wasn't painful, and also but because you can finally see what it produced in you or produced for your life. Sometimes life makes sense in reverse. Like people say hindsight is 2020. Let me say really quick, when talking about I'm so glad that happened. When I was a child, I was the only child, but at the same time, my mother and I was a good child. She did not play, but she's always she still is very loving, very caring. We laughed a lot. We had a lot of fun together. But she did not play when it came to me telling the truth. And also about me being a person of character, of integrity. And I got my tail whooped a few times. You can count on one hand, praise the Lord. But even though every time she got me, I felt like I was going to meet him every time. But she told me, always tell me the truth. Because if you don't tell me the truth, I'm not going to be able to trust you. And that's the only time you are going to get a whooping, or I'm going to say a beat down. But I knew this. It was locked in me. I was a good kid, y'all. Great kid. I had a slick mouth sometimes, but I knew how to kind of nip it in the bud really quick. But I would tell a few little lies, and I get them few little times I got my behind tore up. And it would be very easy. My mom would tell me, just tell me the truth, Josh, because I know you're lying. She said, you don't lie because it's easy. Anybody you lie to is going to be able to see right through you because it's not in you. And I was like, but mommy, and I would get very proper when I was lying. It's just like I gave myself away because I literally didn't want to lie, but I also didn't want to disappoint my mother, not knowing it was going to make it worse by me lying to her and insulting her intelligence or whatever, insulting her intelligence. And I would lie. It was just a few times, and it'd be so small. A child that would have been probably 2 years old would have known I was lying. A dog would have known I was lying. And each time, she would have a little talk with me and she would wear me out. And when we were done, she would talk to me because I could tell it did hurt her to do that. And it's like almost like she wanted to grab me and say, "You are a good kid. Stop making me. We have a good time. You're a good child. You don't give me no trouble. Why are you having to make this? Why are you having to make me have to do this to you? Like you're making me do this to you." And she would tell me, "You're not a liar. So stop doing it." Stop doing it. And if you lie, people are going to know you're lying because it's not in you. I'm glad that that happened because if she hadn't corrected me at home, the world would have. Or what if I would have lied about something I thought was so small and it got me in trouble? So it taught me great to have great character. Also, it gave me the value of being a trustworthy person because I will tell you the truth. And if people can't, if you're not a person who tells the truth, people cannot trust you. And the way my mother would treat me after she would find me in a lie and after I got my punishment or whatnot as a whooping, she would literally speak to me in a way like I had to gain her trust. I said, "Mommy, mom," I get home from school, and then she come home and I'm like, "Mama, can I go out play basketball or go run out with everybody?" And she would say, "I don't know, can you?" I'd be like, "What?" Like, yeah. And she's like, "I don't know." So who are you gonna be with? Mama, da 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 da. Da. How do I know you're gonna be with them? It made me feel like I was a prisoner or something. I felt terrible. So it helped me to realize it pays to tell the truth and it pays to be honest and it pays to be noted trustworthy because if people can't trust you, you're not going to get too far in this life. So I'm thankful that I learned those things very early because it has served me well as being a person of integrity and of honesty and of great character. So I'm thankful to that. So I'm glad that happened, even though when it happened, it didn't feel good at all. But my first point I want to point out to you guys is that some experiences are teachers, not punishments. What when we're in difficult moments in our lives, we often ask, why is this happening? What did I do wrong? But years later, as you go along, we realize, that rejection that I experienced, it actually protected me. That delay actually prepared me. That heartbreak that I experienced, that I just sobbed and thought everything was over, actually redirected me. And maybe redirected me to heal, redirected me to learn and gain different ways of being able to allow people access into my life. Also, it taught me that whatever that failure was, it humbled me. Every time, sometimes people say, "I don't want to do nothing because I'm scared to fail." And it's like, we fail every day, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. But failing can humble you. Humble you not in a way of like you did something like you're a terrible person, you did something wrong, or you're arrogant. Just humbling you to say, "You know what? That didn't work. I don't have to act like everything I had it all together. I had every part of the puzzle, but you know what? It humbles me and it allows me to realize I'm a person who can fail. And I can pick myself up though. I can go forward. I can try again in something else. Or even if that closed door that you experienced forced you to discover that there was another one and that I don't always have to stop at one door in my face. Sometimes that lesson that we learn in those things couldn't have been learned any other way. We want to be better, we want to be greater, we want to be wiser. We don't realize sometimes we need these moments like this so that we become more discerning. We avoid certain things that we don't have to, anything that's unnecessary. Because you know what? The pain actually we experience is temporary, but the wisdom becomes permanent. So whatever pain that you encountered and whatever your life has dealt you in the cards that maybe was didn't seem favorable at the time, it gave you wisdom that is permanent now because now you have a lesson. I love to talk to some clients sometime and when they're dating and they say they'll see somebody from a mile away, but that ain't gonna work. I can tell by the way your head is tilted, it's not gonna work. Meaning to say that because of the experiences they've had dating people or maybe have being in relationships or even being married, they're able to pick up on things much quicker than they were before. So those experiences that we have are actual teachers. They're not punishments. I know sometimes some things happen. It's like, oh my God, why did this happen? What is going on? It's like, well, maybe I should look at this as not something that is wrong or, why is this happening? But just like, what is this teaching me? What kind of classroom am I being put in right now? So again, the pain that we experience is temporary, but the wisdom is permanent. The next point I want to say is that distance gives you perspective. Distance gives you perspective. You can't always appreciate a chapter while you're actually living in it. I don't know about some of you all, but right now, in this chapter of my life, I'm almost like, what is going on in some parts of my life? What is this? The Bible says that you may not know what I'm doing now, but you will later on. And sometimes I want to tell God, okay, can we do the whole now and later like the candy? Can we do the now and later together so I understand what's going on in my life? And maybe you're experiencing some things right now too, but you're in it and you might not be able to really appreciate what's going on around you, even if it's things that are very challenging. There's obstacles, there's the unknown, the uncertainty, things you've never experienced before that you're dealing with right now. You might not even be able to appreciate what's going on right now because you're in it. So sometimes it could be agonizing. Sometimes you get a little anxious. Maybe you feel a little low in your spirit. But there's going to be a time with this distance that you're going to have from this point right now. Or if you think about from the past, when you look back, there's some things you look at now in such a way that you're like, I'm glad that that happened, or now I understand why that happened. It's like standing like 1 inch away from a painting. You up close on the painting. You're so close. You literally just see like the brush strokes. You see like certain details and stuff. But if you step all the way back from a distance, that's why when you go to a museum, sometimes you see people looking at things from a distance because you actually are able to look at the entire masterpiece. That's no different than us. And also, when you look back and you begin to say, and think about this in moments in your life when you look back right now and reflect, you look back and you begin to say stuff like, I'm so glad they said no. I'm glad I didn't get that opportunity. I'm glad I moved. I'm glad I had to start over. Not because any of this was easy, but because now you understand what it was building inside of you and also building in your life in general and for your future. I can't tell you how many times I look back sometimes just to reflect and I'm like, I really didn't understand how even that pain or even that door closed was something so amazing for me. It was protection for me or whatever. I remember being asked to be, I was actually auditioned for it was going to be a major production actually here in Atlanta back in 2013. 2013. I think I've told this story before. I'm going to be really quick. I was over the moon about it, excited about it. I went out for the lead and I gave it everything I want. I went in the room and I read the script. I did a monologue. I read the script that they gave me for the character and I sang a song and I had to sing it like 4 different ways because the director wanted to see how I would sing it to a children, how I would sing it to adults, how I was singing if I was in front of thousands of people, if I was in front of 5 people. So I was like, no problem. And I got the role, but then I got a call back within like a week. And I was told that they actually were going to ask me to be and listen to what I'm saying. And I wish I still had like the messaging of it, but I don't have it anymore. They asked me to be the second understudy because now they were bringing in a gospel artist who was going to be the lead. I was like, dang, like I couldn't at least be like the understudy, the second understudy to something you gave me initially. It hurt. I was like, dang, I've never had to experience that before where I go to getting the lead position and then you demote me to the second understudy. Now, I'm a person who definitely wants to make sure I walk in gratefulness and gratitude and humility before God. But I was like, God, hold on now. Like, this is jacked up. And I just kind of sat with that for a minute and I was like, you know what? I didn't feel ease about that. And I felt like because it was a gospel artist with a big name, I understood that to a degree because I'm like, they want to probably draw people more in and get more attention and stuff. I understood that part, but my thing was fairness. Don't let me audition to be in the lead and then you give me the position and then you snatch it away from me. So I washed my hands with the entire production. I just said, well, I want to thank you guys for at least allowing me to be a part of this. I'm sure this is going to be amazing. And for all the things you all told me, I know this is going to be great. So I prayed about it. I left it alone. And I was like, well, maybe that's just not my opportunity. Fast forward, the production actually never got off the ground. It never got off the ground. And I'm not saying that like I was rejoicing, Slick was, but I'm not saying that you be rejoicing in a sense. But looking back at that, I'm like, here I am being presented an opportunity and being treated unfairly. I'm actually glad that I was not in there because I would have tried to do work and been dedicated to something that actually never got off the ground. So I would have been feeling like I wasted time to some degree. So I look back at stuff like that and it's like, I didn't understand that, but I understand what that's building. What is that building in me? Maybe also knowing my value, knowing my worth, knowing that I should not be, if you're going to demote me like that just because of a name, then don't give me the full thing. And I'm more than that. I deserved what I did because I worked for the position. So same thing with you guys. Sometimes when you step back and take a distance from the things that you have seen happen in your life, your perspective changes. But when you're in it, you don't always see it because it's like you're on autopilot. You can't step outside of your body and evaluate and assess what's going on, even with your life right now. But I will say, if you say you can't step outside of your body, I'm probably going to call a 1-800 number for you really quick. And it's going to be somebody to show up at your house with a good old jacket where you get to hug yourself in the back of a car. But anyway, so keep that in mind. That distance gives you a greater perspective when you step back from what you've encountered and really be able to see what it was building inside of you and what it was building around you. Point number three, y'all. I hope y'all are enjoying this so far. Y'all I don't have that much left. I'm gonna let you get off to your little Friday and get off to your Fourth of July festivities. It's probably starting today. People are already popping firecrackers. You got to know the difference between firecrackers and gunshots. Okay, praise God. Point three: stop judging the story before it's finished. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna say it again. Stop judging the story before it's finished. Sometimes I know we all can get ahead and we try to predict outcomes. Anybody else like that? I'm putting this up. Sometimes you're looking at the what's going on right now, or looking at your story, and it's not even unfolded all the way yet. One bad chapter doesn't determine the entire book. That's like if you're reading a wonderful book that you enjoy, and then you get to one part that's slow, or you might not like it, and then you just stop reading the book. Or if you're watching a movie and it gets to a certain scene, and afterward you're like, I don't want to watch it no more. And it's like you haven't even got to the end yet. Like let it play out, just like you should be doing in your life. Let it play out. You've never even seen like a resolution in that book, or you've never seen how things turn around in that movie scene, or how things could turn out for the best as things go on. I often used to say that God is like the director. Well, he is the director of our lives, like a movie director. And he wrote the script. God has written the script, his Bible, the holy word, so that he's written the script of your life. He knows everything, all the details about your life from start to finish. And we're walking it out, but he's already seen the conclusion. He's already seen the twists and the turns. And I always feel like God is that person, that cousin, not you, but we're just gonna talk about your cousin, your family member, whoever that is, who might be watching a movie with you. They've already seen, and you telling them, this is my first time, so just chill or whatever, and they just start, oh, you gonna like this part, oh, this part, it's like, okay, oh, you might want to kind of turn your head a little bit. It's gonna be a little ugly. It's gonna be a little tough moment to watch. Oh, this gonna be a good. It's like that's God with us, and sometimes when we're in our certain parts of our script or scenes in our life right now, y'all getting this? And when you're in a scene right now, God is saying, hey. I already seen this stuff, but this is you walking this out in these scenes of your life in your movie. But I want you, don't judge where you are right now. Don't be so quick to judge where you are in this scene because you don't know what's in the next scene. So keep on going until you get to the next part because things are turning around for you. And also, life works the same way. Sometimes we're trying to like, I'll give another example. You're trying to uh, judge a book off of chapter three and you haven't even got to chapter 12 yet. Oh, this book is terrible. It's slow. It doesn't even make sense. It's like, can you keep going a little bit further? Just like for you and I. So sometimes you have to give the story time to play out and unfold, just like where you are right now. And think about times in your past where you were like, oh, my life is just this, it's just that. Oh, I'm just, I guess, I don't even know if anything's ever going to get better. It just seemed like one thing after another. But you kept pressing forward, you kept going, you kept believing, you kept fighting forward, and then you see things change. Because I guarantee each and every one of you listening to me, I don't care how challenging or difficult some seasons or moments have been, you watch your life change and you're not in the same position that you used to be in. Do you still have challenges daily? Yes. But you can look back and say, a lot of the things I used to have a challenge with or struggle with, I no longer see, I no longer deal with. Okay. So we can't judge the story before it's finished. So let things continue to unfold, let things continue to play out because you're going to look back and say, you know what? I'm glad I kept moving forward because, and I'm glad that certain seasons that I had, they happened. Okay. Point number four, it's the last one, y'all. I hope that y'all are enjoying this. I hope that you're reflecting even as you're talking to me. And as I always say on the inspiration station, you might not be moved to take an action as far as moving your feet, but your action may start in your thoughts. Because anything else, most things start within us thinking first before we actually take a move on something. And what can be causing you to take a movement with something is continuing to forge forward in your life, knowing that you're going to be looking at the very moments that you're living right now and the things that you're going through, the things that you're growing through, and say, I'm glad that happened. And so, since I'm so glad that that happened, I know that I've said that in my past as well. And I want to say that now as I'm moving forward into my future, so that in these very moments, I see how important it is for me to continue to keep going, to not stop, to not get stagnant, to not get stuck, to not give up, because I want to look back in 2027 when I get there, or I want to look at the end of this year, or I want to look at next month and look back at this where we are right now and say, you know what? I'm so glad that happened. Point number four, gratitude changes the meaning of your past. Gratitude changes the meaning of your past. One of the greatest signs of growth actually are when your memories no longer make you bitter. They make you grateful. So instead of asking, why did this happen? Why did this have to happen to me? Why couldn't it be somebody else? You begin to ask, what did this produce in me? What did this produce for me? That's where healing often begins. When we change and we reframe, why did this happen to me? To what did this produce in me? And I often hear it in times, especially in church, people say, instead of saying, why me, say, why not me? Because there's something in you in this life that you're living. You've been trusted with trouble. You've been trusted with certain challenges to grow through to get you to the best version, to the better version that you've never even met before. So sometimes we have to look at it and be grateful that you were the one who could carry what you carry because nobody else can walk through this life other than you. Nobody else can do what you do. Nobody else can endure the things that you have endured. And sometimes you might even forget about it. And you might need to remind yourself, like, you know what? I can really go through some tough stuff and I can go through successful stuff, but I can keep moving no matter what happens with me. And because of that, I'm grateful that I'm able to carry certain things that certain people can't. Or maybe that I carried it in a way that nobody else can. So you end up realizing that you become stronger. You've been made wiser because of it. You're kinder, you're more sweet, you're more patient, you're more merciful to people, you're more gracious to people. You extend grace not only to others, but to yourself because of what you've gone through, and maybe even seeing other people go through things that you've gone through. You become more discerning. And again, you become more patient and even more courageous. So the experiences didn't happen to you, they happened through you and for you. These things that we go through in our lives, these mountains we climb, they only happen for us and through us. And God always knows, and He knows that we can endure it with Him, not by yourself, with Him. And I think I said last week that, I said Kurt Franklin's song said, He'll never put more on us than we can bear. Well, to our own understanding, yes, He'll never put up more on us than we can bear. But he knows actually we can bear much more than we are aware of at the moment. So when he does put more on us than we can bear to us, yes, it is. But he's bearing that with us as we're going along our journey. So last thing I want to say, you guys, I know you're getting sad. Don't cry. Don't cry for me, Argentina. The truth is I've never left you. Anyway, before we close out, guys, I just want you to think about one thing that you have cried over, you once cried over. And that could have been yesterday. Think about one thing that you cried over that you now smile about. One door that closed, one relationship that ended, one opportunity that disappeared, one season you thought would break you, I mean, break you down. Now ask yourself, what if the thing I'm struggling with today becomes the thing I thank God for tomorrow? What if the thing I'm struggling with today becomes the thing I thank God for tomorrow? So maybe one day you'll tell this exact story and it ends with four simple words. Y'all know what the four simple words are? If you've been paying attention, you should know those four words. But those four words, I'm sorry, five words. I'm so glad that happened. So I can count. I promise y'all, it's five words, not four. Hooked on phonics works for me, I promise. But I'm so glad that happened for that to be those a consistent phrase that you live with for the rest of your life. I'm so glad that that happened. It might have not been the way you felt when things were happening and while you were walking it out, but looking back to say, I'm so glad that happened. As I said, as the word says, that though you may not know what I'm doing now, later on you will. So a lot of times God allows what he allows in our lives, we don't understand it. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but he will deliver us out of them all. So we're promised days of trouble. We're promised hard times, but he will deliver us out of them all. So we're going to overcome these hard things. As I always say, you overcome what tries to overcome us. We overcome what comes over us. So things that come on over into our lives and come over us and maybe make us feel like we're overwhelmed with it, we're going to overcome it and we're going to be better because of it. And we're going to be grateful that we're able to endure and know that we can get through anything because we've done it before. And we'll look back on anything that we've encountered up until this very moment. And as you move forward and say, I'm so glad that happened. Last thing I want to leave with you is just growth has a funny way of challenging or changing our vocabulary. Yesterday we asked, why me? Tomorrow we may say, thank God it was me. I'll say it one more time. Growth has a funny way of changing and challenging our vocabulary. Yesterday we asked, why me? Tomorrow we may say, thank God it was me. So, you guys, I'm so glad that happened to you. Everything you've been through, even the horrendous things. I know sometimes it's like, oh, how can I say I'm glad that that happened? You made it. You made it out on the other side of it. Things that should have taken you out of here, things that should have made you give up. Lord Jesus, give me my eyes. I guess my sinuses, but things that should have made you give up. Some of you wanted to take your lives. Some of you wanted to just throw in the towel and just say, forget it. Things that you thought you would never get out of, things you thought you would be trapped in, things that you maybe even blamed God for, things that you maybe thought that you were so down that you would never come out of that dark place. Sometimes locked up in your room, locked in the bed, in the bed, sometimes wanting to take medications just to go to sleep. Sometimes not wanting to endure or see the sunlight, sometimes not wanting to keep moving forward, being tired, but you made it. And you can look back on everything that has happened, every painful situation, every lonely situation. God was always there. Even when he seemed to be quiet, he was always there. And he knew you could endure it, even though you didn't. He knows that you can endure what you're doing right now, even though you think sometimes, like, what in the world am I supposed to do with this? You're going to endure. And we're going to be able to look back on moments like this that you're encountering right now. And we can also refer back to many things in your life before now and say, I'm so glad that happened because look at what it produced out of you. Look what it made you better in, what it made you wiser in, what you no longer will repeat cycles and patterns that are done and over with because of what you've been through. You're like, that won't happen again. I can't let that happen. I can't afford for that to happen. I can't afford to be in that place ever again in my life. So I love y'all. It is Friday again, July the 3rd, 2026. We're live here on the Inspiration Station with none other than Joshua Lennox, your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. I want to say thank you all for showing up. I have gratitude for you, appreciation for you, and much love for you. Please be safe this weekend for the 4th and things of that nature. People traveling and have a good time, but do it safely. Do it safely and love on one another, y'all. Spread love now more than ever because we know we need it and it starts with you. So you've always been great. You always been great. You're just getting better. And you have finally embraced it. And you realize your life tells you that you are glad that the things that your past has happened because it's made you into this person to realize you've always been great. And maybe that's why you've had great troubles and great challenges because you are great and it needs to continue to come out of you. So, I'll see y'all next Friday. If anything changes, I'll let you know. But I will see you Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and international people. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. But I love y'all. I will see y'all. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Stay out of trouble as best as you can. I don't have any bail money for you. All right. I will say a prayer for you though. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.